How you doing, Ken?
Hip hip,
All right,
hooray! All right, Russell.
How you been?
Okay, Russell, what about you?
Hey,
What about you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
152 pounds this morning. I'm eating like an horse.
It's all those protein drinks the boys got you.
Well, it's just rung me Scott Brunt is in Jersey, and he says, "I've got some more for you." I'll be like, "You ain't I?" I'll be like, "Oh,
Brilliant, brilliant.
Right. Let me just get this off my chest for Dennis's show before we start. Dennis had a show Friday. Obviously, he was in Jersey. He didn't go to it, did he? So I hadn't seen the show. I hadn't seen it, but I heard it wasn't very good. But he said Perry Howe boxed well. I know Perry Howe's on piss, isn't he, going around Sheffield with his WBF international belt. So good luck to him. But 4 fights, I don't think that's a good show. So listen, let me just hear me out here, right? There were 4 fights on. One was a debut, and then they've got 3 other guys with winning records. The home fighters 7 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. Away fighters all are losing records 55, 207, 17. Now, might have been a go at Dennis. He came to see me, didn't he? Obviously, I was really, really ill, over under 9 stone, and he must have thought I should go see him, obviously. So he did think a lot about it, so that's good. So he came to see me. But you don't mean say he's going to get a pass with this show? He didn't even go to it. Now, that sounds bad, isn't it? That's bad, that, isn't it? And like, somebody in my family goes, "You're not going to rinse his show out. He's just been to see it." I went, "Yeah, that's what I do, innit?" So, he didn't even go to the show. But I'm going to compare it to Clinton Woods' last show in Sheffield that Dennis put on. World title fights, British title fights, eliminators, and a lot on it. Mark Hobson were on it with this other kid, but 120 wins for home fighters, 143 wins for away, 28 losses for home fighters, 71 for away, 4 draws for home, 5. That's a really, really 50-50 fights. That'd be pay-per-view now, wouldn't it? That world title on 120 to 38. 120, 28 and 4, and 143 for away, 71 and 5. So if Dennis does grow some gonads and decides to come on my channel, I'll say to him, "All right, then you're saying they're good shows. Well, look what you put on 15 years ago, Dennis." That'd be pay-per-view now with what I've seen. And look now, it's day and night, isn't it? So you can't tell me that boxing is booming, because that's just promoter talk, isn't it? I don't know. What do you think, Ken?
I agree with you. I remember the days Dennis was on BBC promoting shows.
He put last show on BBC, Dennis, the last boxing professional show he put it on.
I remember one of the last shows he promoted on BBC. It was Card Thompson and Sebastian Rothman. What a fight that was on. But if anybody hasn't seen that, check it out. That was a brilliant fight. I remember David Hay against Card Thompson again. That was on BBC. That was a terrestrial fight. I remember him on Sky, promoting obviously Clinton, the McDonald brothers. He had world champions from
Hatton, Carl Thompson.
He had Ricky Hatton, he had Card Thompson. He's multiple world champions plus domestic 50-50 fights to this.
Stuart Hall got Stuart Hall a belt.
Stuart Hall world title.
I don't know how.
I don't exactly British level fighter. So I agree with you. From that to that type of show, it's terrible. But Perry Howe has actually got more belts than Dave Allen. Dave Allen hasn't a belt to his name.
Perry Howe's more successful than Dave Allen. And he does loads of tickets. So
yeah,
but the talent pool is not there to choose from no more, isn't it? So is it the promoters' fault? I don't know. Would you have put that on? I don't think no. Dennis would have put that on back in the day. But I've been when I was there, they put one on with I think it were 3 fights. 3 fights, I think, were on one night. And I always used to hammer people that put 3 and 4 on, but 4 fights and one's a debut and all losing records. He can do better than that, and I hope he does. And he's lucky that I hadn't seen it. So I can only set people's words for that Perry outboxed well. But listen, Perry's not a world champion, but he's got a belt. So he's got to be given credit. He gets in there, done. He's put his effort in. That's as far as it goes. But Perry, that's not an area belt. Get a cruiserweight, area belt, or any belt. Area English, British, Commonwealth, European, any of them, or will get any of them, Perry. And I'm in Riverdon, and I've lost my bet. If Dar retires on that one of them, Dar at Riverdon as well. All right. Like what they can do, they can pull up in the bin wagon while they collect bins, jump out, jump in sea. That's if you retire and you go back on bins. So I think he's still on bins. So good luck to him, man. It did well for Rendlesham Road, didn't it? Good luck to him, but it's not a world title. It ain't a world title, in my opinion. But now we've got that dealt with. That'll go down like a fucking lead balloon, won't it? That. What can you do? Somebody said to me, Porky, can you tell a funny story? I'm just going to get this done. And it's, well, I told one in a video over there, and there was one that come to mind. I went to pick up AJ Hobson, sent me to pick up this fighter who were fighting Sam Sheedy at Commonwealth. Go get him from airport and take him for a blood test near Manchester City's ground. After, Commonwealth African fighters have to have blood test. So I've got him on that. But anyway, it's got a long story short. When they were getting into the car, there were 3 of them. Obviously, this oldest guy, manager guy, about my age, and my height, and there were these 2 other kids. And the one kid looked like a boxer, and he was like carrying this kid who didn't look well. He looked really ill. And I said, "Hey mate, I'll leave that, mate. I'll help you. You'll get in car. You're fighting tomorrow." He goes, "No, he's fighter." I went, "What?" He looked dug up. I thought that was a funny story. I thought that was a funny one. But hey, listen. And he obviously he made way in, didn't he? He did what he had to do, and he set about Sheedy. He could whack like a mill. But Sheedy got the nod, didn't he, on the night, and went up Commonwealth champion. Good luck to him, but it's just don't judge a book by its cover. I don't know if that were they doing that. So I went back and said, "Oh, he's at death's door." Because that's what I did. As soon as I got back, AJ went, "What happened?" I went, "Oh, he's at death's door." AJ went, "Whoa." Put a wedge of cash in my pocket. Like, look, that was the first ever money I'd ever had in boxing. And obviously Peter Fury gave me some a bit further down the line, but that was the first time I'd ever had any money in boxing. And I thought, wow, this is all right. Didn't have much left. Hang on a second. Oi. All right. Hang on a second. Any diesel coming? All right. I'm always on tap, aren't I? You don't know why diesel back £1 a litre. Right, so that's that way. Right, what's been going on, Ken? Look at that, straight in. We're gonna have a great day today, aren't we, kid? Straight then. Well, what's happening what's been happening, Ken, in the sport of boxing? Fill me in.
It's been. I've no words. Where do you start? I'm going to start where obviously the biggest trending story of the week was I'm not going to go into it as deep as Terry, but I would like to try and break some of it down. And in my own words, game changed. The game has changed. The game has changed. AJ, where do you start, Russell? Where do you want me to start with it?
Well, this is how I look at it. You should really start with that licker Spencer Oliver. He's a grown man doing that on live TV.
I watched I'm not a massive talk sport fan, as I've said, but there is times where I'm not going to say I don't watch it, and I seen Simon Jordan absolutely tearing Spencer Oliver to pieces the other day. It was so embarrassing that he turned around and he said that
I'm going to shut this
what he
window. Ben, I know you're watching this when it goes out. You're a dick for making loads of noise. Told you I was filming. But yeah, go on.
he turned around and said that he backed up what he had said. He was only saying it because it was the right thing to say at the time. Then a conversation later, he said it was true. And I'm thinking he just completely contradicted himself in 2 sentences, you know.
Yeah, because they're put on the spot, aren't they? So they tell a lie. And then they get out when cameras away. They say, oh, I said it, but cameras, listen. The lot of them are lickers. Lickers. The kid got filled in. You couldn't give him 5 rounds at 2 fights.
He got I scored the fight and I'm lucky to give AJ. I gave AJ a round and a half. A round and a half. Literally, he's lucky if he got 2 rounds of my card. Everyone has been saying all week how much AJ's improved in that fight. I actually thought he performed better in the first fight than that. I didn't see any improvements whatsoever. I seen none. None. I at times he looked like a novice. He looked, you know, he was slapping that right hook. He was slapping it. He was up like a rocking horse. He looked absolutely petrified. And for anyone to say that, you know, the score like 113, 115, like for AJ, even 116, 112, 115, 113, I didn't have it. Even those scorecards, even though they went to Usyk, they were far too close. That was an absolute. I think they're going to try and rob him.
Yeah.
Garcia put a statement out 2 days ago that everything was going to plan until round 9. He was winning the fight till round. What? What's he talking about? He won 1 round between a my card between round 1 and 9. The only person to actually say that was Peter Fury. Peter Fury was the only person. He tweeted into Sky, and he said, "What's going on? Round 4, they're telling him he's won every round. He hasn't won a round." And I'm thinking, is this whole AJ has this mistake about him that is he's got the AJ privilege. You know, he's had the AJ privilege since 2010. You know, since he went in the EIS, he's had top class physio, S&C, technical sparring.
Therapeutic exemption certificates.
Therapeutic medical exemption certificates. He's had everything.
For steroids. For steroids.
He's had he's had nothing in his career between then till now that's tested him. He got Olympic gold handed to him on a plate in 2012. So he's had no adversity in his career. And it seems to be that he wants people around him that's going to make his life a lot easier and not tell him, you know, coaching's all about being able to have them uncomfortable conversations with people. And it's evident now that he's just got those backslappers around him, and it was even worse this time, even worse.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a bit of a weapon, AJ, isn't he? Going off him.
It was just, the whole thing was an absolute shambles. I don't see why he had to bring in Garcia as a coach. That other guy, you know, I seen something last week where he was doing pods and Garcia was going in and correcting the pod sessions. What coach out there would actually accept that in their camp? How does that work? It's embarrassing. I just think AJ went around that whole thing about going around all these coaches and looking for advice. Of course, all them coaches are going to tell him, yeah, we have got the blueprint to beat Usyk because they want paid.
Exciting times ahead, Ken. This is why we love this sport so much, Matt. Okay. Let me just throw a curveball at you here. Now, there's all these people in his camp, yeah, all these trainers and padmen, all these experts, yeah. Right, we've got all these. Why do they need? Why do they need to be flying 47 team members? What are they doing? What are they doing for the? You know, all you need is your training. You know, that's it. You don't need nobody else.
Well, I did notice as he walked into the ring, there was actually somebody there. They lift the ring ropes over for him. So there's a job for somebody to do. Maybe somebody was carrying his kit bag. Maybe there's somebody was carrying his luggage. Maybe somebody was there carrying the coach's luggage. It's an absolute embarrassment. The boxing, all are getting the wage, and you know what? It's that whole thing when he was on doing his big speech at the end. There wasn't one of them that actually tried to grab the mic off him and tried to support him. None of them. They all stood back and let him do what he wants.
Have you ever thought though that some people might have a job with AJ? They might have regular income and they need that income. I've seen that many times in boxing. People just they don't send out. They're not all fortunate to have gonards like me and just say, you know what? No, that's not right. Not many people do. I know people who come across as my words made of oak. People in boxing, they're not, mate. They're not. Because so when it comes down to it, it's about that. And then they'll say, well, I'll do best for my fighters. There you go. What about just saying, look, I'm going to look best for my son. F off. That's what Dave Allen should have said to Eddie Hearn. Look, I'm going to take this offer off Brick Top. I'm doing the best for me and mine. Till late night, gone. See where I'm coming from?
Yeah, absolutely. And anybody that they're all blaming AJ for it. And yes, he is 100% accountable, but everybody that was attached to that team is accountable as well for letting it happen. Even right down to Eddie Hearn, you know, you look at the last 10 years, matchmaking, managers, boxing doesn't have boxing people involved now. And that's why.
Ken, before you ramble on, because you like going down other avenues, right? This guy here, Anthony Joshua, does he employ Eddie Hearn and all these people?
Yeah.
Right. So where's the blame lay then? The blame lays with him. He's the one that's in the ring, isn't it? Fair enough. Yeah, everybody's all, oh, AJ's he's got too much on his plate, too much too soon pressure. We heard all this from Mike Tyson. If AJ had got the nod, Ken, right, what would have happened? We wouldn't have heard anything about mental health.
No.
You know, all this nonsense. We wouldn't have heard anything about it. He employs them all. What he says goes. If he wanted to fight Wilder for 50 million and said to Eddie and Eddie, make it happen, he'd have had to make it. He'd have gone, yeah, but apples and he said, no, make it happen, Eddie. Make it happen. Right. And he'd have made it. He's the guy who employs everybody. So we can't say, oh, Eddie should have done this and blah, blah, blah. They're not going to rock his little number, are they? Not when he's a cash cow, but he employs them. If there's people running right around here streaking on night shift, right? That's Kevin's problem. He employs them. There'll be people here who want to squeal and tell tales. But if they're going to streak, I want to see it, especially if they're women. No, point I want to make is if there's somebody here stealing or whatever, the person who sets them on, they're the ones that gets rid of them, aren't they? Now, AJ, he set these people on. He's got to get rid of them. Simple as. I don't think he'll be able to get rid of Hearn as much and DAZN because they're going to put up a fight, aren't they? But if the kid just wants to walk, he'll walk. I think he's got a lifetime promotional deal with a Macho Man and a 5-fight deal with DAZN. Is that right?
Yeah.
So Hearn has tied him up for naught, so he can never, ever leave him, ever. So he's done. He's stuck with him. He might want away from him now, Hearn, because Hearn's not daft. He's tied him up on that, knowing that all promoters and boxers fall out, don't they? Boxing's on a sport where everybody can fall out over nothing, really. Usually over egos and pride and backstabbing and money and stuff like that. Just usual stuff. You don't get half of that in jail, what you get in boxing. But the bottom line is this. Anthony Joshua employs. He calls the shots. They can advise him. but he'll speak to his team, but he'll go with his own instincts. What do you think, Ken?
I think you're right, but when you're employing management, 258, he's got all these people around him. You have to, if you're paying them, you have to pay for the best advice. You're paying for a service. You want the best possible service and the best possible advice you can get. Personally, I don't think they should have went in the intermediate rematch with him. There's no way. How can you make that improvement in less than a year?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look at Lennox Lewis when Lennox Lewis was knocked out by Oliver McCall. It was close to 18 months to 2 years before the rematch. And before that rematch, he was tested with the Ray Mercer fight, Tommy Morrison, and a new coach. That took 2 years to do that. How can you do that? How can you do that in less than a year?
I thought Ray Mercer beat him.
So did I.
Yeah, I thought he beat him. But listen, when you go to a new coach, you can't just bed in straight away with that coach. It takes time, doesn't it? Now, he's not going to turn that around in 11 months from getting whooped first time to second time. But in that period, he'd been to various trainers, hasn't he, and picked everybody's brains. Yeah. Do you think he could have had like an overload or something, or he's just took too much on?
No, I don't want to hear that. I think when you've been a world champion, you've been an Olympic champion, going around doing a couple of sessions with coaches, that can't overload you because you're a boxing person. I think it's the time period from the first fight to the second fight. That's the point I'm trying to make is who let him? Why would you put him in? He was comprehensively outboxed the first fight. He should have been stopped because the bell was rang. Between then and now, how can you make that adjustment with a new trainer? And as I said there, that Ray Mercer fight was an adversity. It was a hard fight. If he probably hadn't won that, he had adversity in that fight. AJ hasn't had adversity really in his career to deal with somebody as good as Usyk. They're talking, Garcia's talking about now that, he was winning the fight until round 9. And then because round 10 went against him, he had a meltdown. Why did he have a meltdown? Because he hasn't had adversity in his career at all. Since he won the ABAs, he's been bubble wrapped and protected his whole career until this fight. So couldn't deal with it.
You're not being in a firefight, are you?
No, like that's what I'm trying to say. The Lennox Lewis, he had that really tough fight against Ray Mercer before the Oliver McCall rematch. That probably gave him that confidence that he can come through adversity to win that rematch. Plus, with the new coach, they haven't had that at all in their career. None.
Well, he got dropped against Vladimir and he got his set up off canvas and dealt with that. But do you think Vladimir didn't have anything in tank to get him out of there?
But Vladimir was in his 40s and hadn't fought in close to 2 years. So you would like to think, he would be able to pick himself up against a 40-year-old that had lost to Tyson Fury 3 years before and comprehensively outboxed. You would like to think so, wouldn't you?
And it's going to be a tough road for him coming back. And I mean, it looks at the moment that they're hard at game at heavyweight now, aren't they, Macho?
Yeah, it's what way do they get back? And we're talking now. He's not going to be ready for championship level for at least 2 years. If Fury and Usyk fight, there's going to be 2 fights there. That's 18 months. Where does AJ fall in? I can see them maybe. Do they take AJ to Australia for Dempsey McKean? He's promoted.
Never.
Yeah, well, they need they need to monetize him. They need to get revenue back. I could see possibly Dempsey McKean in Australia. I could see Zhang as well. I actually think Zhang after that performance would probably beat AJ. Then you've got Big Baby Miller. He's had 2 bum fights. He's on a tomato can of the month for the next year. He's in the top 14 of WBA. They could use that because of the whole build-up and this and that. That's a fight could happen. I don't see Dillian White fight happening. He's just appeared out of nowhere in the WBA top 10.
Who
So
has?
Dillian White.
What? And he's just been beat. Now all of a sudden he's in WBA. Well, yesterday. Well, yesterday.
Yeah, it's rankings this morning.
I'm going to say, one on, yes, must have been, yeah, I'm going to say, I didn't see him in there. Yes, you're on the ball, you aren't you, Kent?
Yeah, it's
What do you do when you get up in the morning, Kent? You just check on all governing bodies. Okay, now, I must be doing something wrong here.
but that's the route I see them. I see them going on this. Remember that disaster, that 12 Sky paid, what was it, Eubank Senior, 12 million to go in this world tour. They ended up in Cardiff, Belfast, Glasgow, and Germany, which was absolute. It's not really a world tour, is it? But I can see them trying to market AJ in those other markets like South Australia and China, and they need to monetize them some other way, because let's face it, no one's going to want to go to a football stadium to pay to watch AJ in a 10-round fight.
Hey, listen, does AJ still get paid when he swears? Because I don't. Oh my God. Got to that on that. Right, Anthony Joshua. So project's basically more or less done now. It's been exposed, hasn't it? The aura's gone on it, the invincibility. No, everybody wants a piece of him now to fill him in, don't they? Do you think he's best off going to America, just starting afresh and going around there and learning around gyms over there? Do you think he could be better off going to Sugar Hill?
What's he gonna learn now? He's an Olympic champion. What as an Olympic champion, you're an Olympic champion. You're a two-time heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
What do you need to learn, Russell? If you haven't learned anything from winning the gold to now, have you learned anything? I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear this crap. He's learning on the job. He started late. You're Olympic champion. You're a two-time world champion. What should you need to learn? Why should you need I don't get it. I don't want to hear that. And what's good about American coaching anyway? Look at Filip Hrgovic last week. He's been training with Ronnie Shields for months, and he looked absolutely terrible last week. So this whole thing about American trainers and this and that, I'm not buying into it.
What do you think to that Zhang?
I tell you what, I seen him against the Jeremy Forrest, and he was near taking a heart attack in that fight for oxygen, and he looked terrible. He looked slow. He wasn't fit. He looked a lot better in that fight against Hrgovic, who's a lot better opponent than Jeremy Forrest at the time. I was impressed by him.
He looked fat though, didn't he, for an heavyweight, didn't he?
Well, they're all fat. Hrgovic looked fat as well, so he did.
And that Zhang's the Mo Pryor of heavyweight boxing, isn't he? Well, athletes we're talking about here. Athletes.
I don't think I've ever seen a heavyweight as slow as Zhang, and even Hrgovic. He looked absolutely terrible. It was an entertaining fight. I could see Zhang's improve, but I thought Hrgovic was absolutely dire. I've said that for last year, that I wasn't impressed by him at all as a pro. He was a great amateur, yes, but as a pro, he's looked terrible, absolutely terrible. I wasn't convinced then, and I'm even less convinced now.
Okay. I want to other link, can you?